Hello everyone, it is the Match Build Up Show. I'm Paul Machin. Dan Clubb is alongside me, and over at the board is our resident lumberjack, Chris Pajak.
No, he got it in. I knew you were going to say something. Every time.
Beat you to it there. Yeah, if you've got any thoughts around Liverpool football, or anything you'd like us to discuss, let us know in the comments section when the team comes out, which comes out in about 30 minutes officially. We'll have that. We'll talk through some of the Liverpool's possible permutations before then as well. But before we dive into that, here's Jurgen Klopp from his pre-match press conference talking about the fitness and availability of Alisson Becker and Alexis McAllister.
Alisson looks good. I don't know if good enough now for tomorrow. I have to check that with coaches in the medical department and with Ali, of course. Maka doesn't look good. So, yeah, we have to see day by day. But they were pretty hopeful after the game. They were not that serious. It's not that serious, but in that period of year, if you're out for 5 days, it's 12 games pretty much. So we have to wait there. How he shows up here today, I don't expect him to be ready for tomorrow. Don't know about Thursday or Sunday after that. So it's pretty much what is that? Stop and go. We have to see.
Just to check, is Ali in normal training yet?
Yes, yesterday he did. He trained normally. Yeah.
Yes, we'll go through what Jurgen Klopp might do in response to all of this stuff in a second, but Craig Beckley is not impressed. In the comments says, Chris, that was clearly mining, not chopping trees.
I'm just a terrible lumberjack, what can I say? But if I was to do that, I wasn't sure you'd actually get the motion in the camera.
He looks a bit golfy. You're chipping out the sand there, mate.
Well, you know, I've even got the fingers there. There you go, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. Thank you.
Hi Dan. Hiya. So Alisson Becker in training. That's a big call to be made. We know he's in the matchday squad. It'd be daft if he's in the squad and he's not playing. Let's be perfectly honest about this. I must admit, I would be concerned the league teams have got him in, and my immediate reaction was, "Oh, what are they rushing him for?" But Liverpool won't rush him because what I forget is they see him in training and they do like a complex set of medical examinations on them to make sure that they are available.
No, you're right, and I'm kind of with you. I'm surprised, shocked, pleasantly happy that he's back and available so quickly, because I didn't think that was going to be the case. I thought it was sort of touch and go for the Man United game, but it just goes to prove he is very much superhuman, not only when it comes to his goalkeeping ability, but also comes with his powers of recovery as well. But yeah, you're right. I kind of looked at it and went, oh, that feels like we're kind of hastily throwing him back in. But Liverpool will know full well if he's ready or not. And I don't foresee a world whereby he's travelled with the squad and he's with the squad and he doesn't immediately come in for Keith Kelleher. Kelleher's done well in his absence, I think it's fair to say, but this is Alisson Becker we're talking about. Like, he is just ridiculous. He's the best goalkeeper in the world. So if he's there, if he's fit, if he's available, he plays the game.
Excellent. Chris, then, do you want to talk us through some of the possible options that Jurgen's got facing?
Yeah, okay. So we've got obviously Alisson and Kelleher we've talked about. In terms of left-back options, I suppose the only real talking point is whether he decides to throw Joe Gomez in there at left-back. Can't imagine he'd do that. In terms of centre-back options, we've got a couple, haven't we? We've got Virgil van Dijk and Ibu Konate, Joe Gomez and Jarell Quansah are the other options there. It kind of makes sense that he'd stick with what he's got, with Konate, I suppose, although we have seen some league teams and Konate's not in them. Trent Alexander-Arnold or Joe Gomez will probably play right back. In terms of the middle, you heard Jurgen talking about it there. Alexis McAllister isn't going to be playing in this one. I expect it'll just be Endo to drop into the 6th position. In terms of the left-sided 8, it'll be Jones or Gravenberch. Szoboszlai will probably keep his place in the right-sided 8. And then up top, I suppose, there's Diaz or potentially maybe a Cody Gakpo to play on the left-hand side. Nunes or Cody Gakpo to play through the middle. And the right-hand side is going to be Mo Salah, because it's always Mo Salah. It's never anything but Mo Salah, and it has been that way for a long time now. So, interesting one. I think this is probably the biggest talking point, isn't it, lads? You know, Kurt Jones or Ryan Gravenberch. And what I find interesting now is, me and Dan were having a conversation the other day, actually, where is Jones in the pecking order? Because, you know, is he now behind Alexis McAllister? Is he now behind Ryan Gravenberch as well? Does that put him as the 3rd choice 8 when he started the season as probably arguably the first choice 8. And again, I mean, what's going on with Harvey Elliott? Is this like a first team player, or is he a squad player nowadays? And because it felt at the start of last season, the first 20 games, he was a first team player, but it feels now, Paul, like he's a squad player.
Yeah. Oh, well, look, I think barring Salah, Alisson, Virgil van Dijk and Trent, I think, and maybe Szoboszlai, I think they're all squad players at this point, which is one of the things. Because I look at it, so I'll tell you what, Chris, do you want to just do the league team? Do you want to just organise that, and we'll come back to that conversation in a sec? Because my overall feeling, if that team is correct, Dan, is we've got lots of games to play, and we've got lots of players, and this is not the time when you've just lost Matip to injury. McAllister's out at the moment, Jota's out as well. You don't want to be causing any more problems for yourself, really. So the big talking point within the league teams for people who've seen this already, and we'll put, in fact, if you just put Chris on screen for us, please, Aaron, is that Jarell Quansah is rumoured to be partnering Virgil van Dijk. Dan, first thoughts?
It's a really interesting one. Not one I would have predicted in a million years, quite frankly. That's not to say Jarell Quansah isn't an incredible prospect, and it's not to say Jarell Quansah hasn't done brilliantly when he stepped in this season, because I very much think he has done, whether it be Premier League, Europe or Carabao Cup, whatever. The only thing I would say on it, and I have no doubt in his ability to be able to sort of do that role today, certainly alongside Virgil van Dijk, who will talk him through it, who will help him out 100% along the way. Is he starting this game because he is 100% nailed on the very best option to do so, or is he starting this game because we need to protect Ivo Konate and Joe Gomez? I would probably just about fall upon the latter. And does that say a lot about Konate and Gomez? They obviously featured in midweek quite heavily, so instantly you go, because they played in midweek, can they now not play today? That's not ideal.
No, I agree on that, but that's Chris, that's a transfer policy issue maybe in something that I agree it doesn't speak great to Konate, but also, again, these people have to make these decisions. There's a midweek game to come, which I expected Quansah to start regardless. Gomez did the full game at left back, which is a lot of energy expended as well. The Konate thing is a little confusing, I guess, mate.
Yeah, I think so. I think you might be able to frame this around how Jürgen thinks of these 12:30 kickoffs after a midweek game, though. Yeah. And if you've got a player who you do think is maybe just on the edge a little bit, the 12:30, rather than the Sunday game, might just be one day too soon for somebody like that. He may have just taken a knock or something as well. Let's not forget that we just don't know about. Obviously, there was rumours before the last international break, wasn't there, that he picked up a muscle injury. He was still in the French squad. Those rumours I don't think turned out to be true, but we do know he picks up these little niggles every now and again, and with a big game in the Carabao Cup upcoming, it might just be one of those where too short a gap for recovery and this game, the 12:30 kickoff against Palace, to then be able to go into the West Ham game midweek. So I think he's probably erring on the side of caution, and it might just be a little bit of a nod to just how well Jarell Quansah has performed so far this season as well.
I think it's definitely that on the Quansah thing as well, and it is also Klopp doubling down on Jarell Quansah, of course, at a very poignant time, in so much as he was getting asked in his press conference about, are you going to enter the market in January, and he kind of said, I've got Jarell Quansah, so why would I? Yeah. So he is very much saying, look, I've got Jarell Quansah, why would I? Immediately after, because Matip's obviously gone down this week, and straight away Quansah's the guy. So it does feel like a bit of a statement selection, and I think you're right, Konate could have a knock, there's no two ways about that, but from a relatively pessimistic, slightly negative point of view, just from Konate's angle really, look at it and go, it kind of has to be you, and if it's not you, I am wondering why it isn't. And again, Quansah's outstanding.
Wandered around and finally found someone. Chris, what did you want to say, mate?
Yeah, I just think on the Quansah thing, another sort of side, or to pull on the thread of what Dan was talking about rather, you've got to find out what he's like against Premier League opposition at some point. And if you go into January thinking that Jarell Quansah is the answer, but he's not played in the Premier League, then you might have a problem. So play him now before the January transfer window opens. You can then rule out a transfer or not in your own mind by the time the window comes around.
Yeah, no, I think this is the thing. I think he would have rotated a centre-halves potentially for this game, but he's got one less centre-half. So Matip was probably, if they planned ahead, Matip was probably scheduled to play in this game. If they were going to play, or if not, Matip would have played midweek, and then Konate would have played this, but given that Gomez has played at fullback. So this is just the knock-on effect. If Andy Robertson was fit, this is probably not an issue, because you would just play Gomez or Canate, because neither one of them wouldn't have played in the midweek that went before it. So it's fine. But I agree on Chris's point. You do need to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and this is Klopp's been effusive in his praise for Quanta so far this season. I think we can all agree he's been really good. Mm-hmm. We do need to see him tested more and more and more. But I'm kind of fine with it. You know, and again, it goes back to this thing, there's a sports science element to it, where they might be looking at it and going, there's a calculated risk, and they'll balance all of these things out and go, you could play Gomez, or you could play Canate, but there's an increased risk of injury with them because of them having just played in the midweek. That's lowered. Now, you increase your chances of something going wrong for a more inexperienced centre-back, but then you put Canate in and blah, 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 and then he's injured, and then you're playing Quanta next week anyway, so, I'm excited for him. I want to know how good he is, and this won't unequivocally tell us that one way or the other, but the more he plays, the more chances he's got to show us what he's made of, and he's got what's required. He's good on the ball, he's tall, he's very composed, he actually carries the ball really well. He might, I want to see him make one of the Matip runs, because he did it for the England under-21s. And he's certainly got that in him.
He's got it, I think so. I just want to say, to finish on that, really, from a Quanta perspective, I didn't even bat an eyelid at Quanta starting.
Yes.
It raises more questions for me about those not playing, essentially.
Listen, I think that's absolutely fair to do. Right, the team will come out in 2 minutes. Before we do, we've got a couple of little bits of housekeeping to do. We have been giving away Liverpool-themed prizes every day so far in December. We're going to continue up to and including Christmas Day. As you can see there, on the 14th of December, we're going to be giving away our signed kite shirt, and then obviously, because we're not in on Christmas Day, on Boxing Day, when the people are in to do the watch along, we've got a Carragher sign program and an Ibu Canate sign shirt, as well as a bunch of other things between now and then. Those draws are going to be happening on across our social platforms and channels and all that kind of stuff. So today we are giving away this. It is a Jack Designs. It is Jack Designs. Before I make that obvious mistake that I've made in important ways before, Alison Becker poster. Yes, we've got the wheel of names up. We're going to bring that up and we're going to spin it right now. Hey! No Serum has won the poster. Congratulations, mate. Well done. Well done. Come on, Dan.
Sorry.
Come on, Dan.
I was about to type his name out. But
well done absolutely. Well done. That will be winging its way to you. We'll be in touch over all of that. A couple of things then. Josh Owen says it's my birthday. On the day a kite draw will be a lovely present. Well, cool. Make sure you're a legend if you're not already, Josh Owen. Right, the team is out. Chris Pajak, is that spot on?
Yeah, it looks like it. So we've got Alisson Becker in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jarell Quansah, Virgil van Dijk, Kostas Tsimikas, Enzo, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, guessing where Diaz. Oh, yes, got him. Diaz, Nunes, Salah. And then in the substitutes, we've got Kelleher, we've got Joe Gomez, we've got Kurt Jones, we've got Gakpo, Elliott, Doak, McConnell, McConnell.
And Bradley.
So,
no Adrian.
Is it?
No Adrian, just
okay.
one keeper, yeah.
Yeah, I think I've got a McConnell down here somewhere.
I put him on there for there he is.
Excellent work, mate. So no Adrian and McConnell, and for some reason I decided to get rid of Ibu there. So we've got the substitutes as well. I literally had him on the board, took him off.
Because you're so good at touching your toes, Chris.
Showing off.
Yeah, let's go with that, mate. So yeah, the rumoured team is right. We haven't talked about Endo in the centre. I think we're probably fair to say we're probably all excited to see more of him.
Is that fair to say?
Well, you tell me. I asked the question. Doesn't look like it.
It was a loaded question, though, wasn't it?
Like it.
I think we're all excited, aren't we? Are we? No. Fine. Yeah, fine. No, excited's not the word. He's fine. He's a defensive midfielder, and I feel almost entirely indifferent about it. Are you excited to see Endo play in the six?
I think excited might be a stretch.
He's just touched his toes twice in 30 seconds. He's feeling he's
if he does it
flow.
again, I might get more excited. No, I think it's fine. I guess that's testament to how he's sort of proven himself over recent weeks, it's fair to say, and now it's just like, Endo's starting, no issue whatsoever with that. That's just okay for the Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah, well, this is again goes back to the squad thing of it. Ryan with the super chat here says Klopp paying Quansah means no January centre back. Surely, I mean, in fact, he came out in his press conference. I think it was James Pearce who asked the question, which means he's always going to get a spikier response. But he basically said he's never understood the fans and media obsession with signings. It's like we've got centre backs.
Yeah.
And to buy, no one's who's selling a top centre back in Jan. It does. I don't think it means anything beyond the fact, Chris, that Gerald Quansah is a Liverpool centre back and is available to him, so he's allowed to play him. He's not a competition winner.
But does it not mean that we need to sign somebody if we're playing Gerald Quansah? Isn't that the whole point? No, you're absolutely spot on, lads. Gerald Quansah's done well this season. We know what he's about so far, but we need to test him in the Premier League. And I know we've just had the conversation about it, but how is he going to play when Trent moves into the centre of the park? That's a sort of wrinkle that I don't think we've seen so far this season. Jarell's more often than not played on the left of the centre-back partnership because he's been covering for Virgil van Dijk and stuff. So is Jarell going to be able to cover that space? Is Trent going into the middle here? Are we going to take that a little bit easy? Are we going to play a little bit more of Trent on the right-hand side and a little bit less of him through the middle? I doubt it, to be honest. But how he interacts with Trent and covers for that space and how he deals with defending one-on-one in those areas is probably what we're looking to find out today.
Just on that, sorry, before you come in, I watched him for the under-21s against Benfica B, play on that side, the defence on the right-hand side, and he had to cover them because the right-back was going into midfield a lot.
Who was the right-back?
I think it was Pennington, off the top of my head, young lad, and he was outstanding at it, like brilliant at it. So I have no qualms. And ever since that day, essentially, I've been very much of the belief that he will replace Joel Matip. I didn't expect it to be so soon, but I've kind of been of that ilk because I've seen him wander into midfield a little bit, obviously play on that side. He feels like a very natural Matip-esque fit, so I'm not wholly surprised to see him doing it today.
Just out of interest, when was that day?
Oh, about a month ago now. 3 or 4 weeks, a month, yeah, something like that, not too long ago.
He's got, look, this is very early to say this because he's still a very young footballer, which I think we forget because he's so big. Yeah, we've got like lads his age in the squad who are tiny human beings. Is that he has shades of both Matip and Van Dijk. He feels like a nice sort of like Venn diagram of the two at times, but you need to test that at the highest level. Some interesting comments on him. Bear here says Quansah has been superb. He is like a new signing anyway. I know that'll enrage the kind of people who are enraged by such things. And John Cutler, though, is I think maybe one of those people, says I can't understand Klopp when he's had a centre-back issue and a midfield issue because of not getting new players in quick enough. But I'm only reiterating what Jürgen said in his press conference, Chris. He basically said it was perfect with what we had. We've got 4 centre halves, so it's not a problem yet. And I kind of tend to agree with that. We tend to carry 4 centre halves, and then you've got an absolute break glass option somewhere. This season, our break glass option has been Gerald Quansah, who's actually been a useful member of the squad. So that's not we're still in a reasonably healthy position now. If we were to lose another one, that might precipitate Liverpool taking some action.
Well, no, I don't agree with that, to be honest with you, because we know that Matip's pretty much going to miss the rest of the season. So, yeah, you're right, and we've had 4 centre-halves, but we've got 3 now.
No, we've got 4 now.
In terms of Van Dijk, Quansah, Konate and Joe Gomez. Yeah. But Joe Gomez is covering for Tsimikas, he's covering for Trent Alexander-Arnold. So for me, that situation was never quite right because, I know Joe seems to have put those past injuries behind him, but with Konate's injury problems and Matip's injury problems, I've always kind of thought we're risking it a little bit, to be honest. And I think a lot of Liverpool fans feel like that. And now with Matip going out, I think it's just stressing the limits of the squad. I'm not saying we're there yet, but Joe Gomez, I don't think is the right person to cover 3-4 positions essentially around the back and stuff. And it takes one more injury and we're really in the shit. So although I'm totally comfortable with Quansah going in the side, I would like Liverpool to sign somebody because I do think that there is so much at stake this season and there is such a good chance of us going so far in the league that it could possibly turn into a mistake if we don't make that signing.
Yeah, absolutely. Or it couldn't. Moses, Alex, just to present the opposite side, says Klopp is basically counting on Virgil not getting injured. If Virgil gets injured second of season, we would be in trouble. Absolutely, totally agree with that one. Diane Butler says it's a real risk our situation right now. I do feel reinforcement is required. And Ethsham says if we had a magic money tree with unlimited funds, we could get a centre back, a DM. In my opinion, I'd rather have a 6, not to stunt Quansah's growth. It's one of them, look, if Quansah's ready to step up and he's you know, and he's not the kind of player who gets regular injuries, which would really be useful, then again, these kind of things become less of a problem. But they're not problems until they become problems, but you can't legislate for things becoming problems after a certain fashion, because you just end up having 40 players in your squad. I'm looking forward for the inevitable recall of Nat Phillips.
Well, he come back in January anyway.
Is he?
It's only a January loan. He'll be back anyway. So.
Well, what are we all getting so upset about?
So everyone
Big
will
Nax.
Everyone will act. The problem is here for me. It's not, and Chris kind of touched on it there with Konate's injury problems and Gomez's past injury problems now, touch wood, hopefully. But with Konate now, it kind of stretches beyond injury problems, because we're having to manage his workload and his minutes so heavily, it seems. It looks like Liverpool are trying to get ahead of the curve when it comes to Ibu, because we are so worried about what could happen. We're dropping him in out of games now, and possibly today could be one of them. We're keeping him away from the firing line because we're concerned about what could happen in the future. So that's not an ideal position to be in. Plus, if you factor in the fact that Matip's out of contract at the end of the season anyway, so Liverpool could be looking for a replacement regardless. For me, I'm kind of with Chris, I would just fast forward that and do it in January.
Listen, by the way, I do absolutely agree with that. I think but it goes, my point is based on what Jurgen Klopp's saying. Yeah, and I agree with that Leverkusen are not selling Piero Hincapié in January. They're not. And most of the teams who we will have players on their list are not going to be keen, and even the players themselves are not necessarily going to be keen on that. But the Matip situation does represent an interesting challenge for us. But I think I was saying it on the show the other day, there's a couple of ways Liverpool can skin it. Maybe I think we'll probably do that on the podcast this week. Anyway, the Palace team: Johnston in goal, Joel Ward, Anderson, whose first name I can't remember, Gay, Nathaniel Klein, of course, in the side as well, Richard, Lerma, Hughes, Schlupp, Ayew and Edouard are all in the starting lineup. Elise is on the bench, which is a thing which I'm sure we'll see him at some point in the game and be utterly terrified by him. That's standard behaviour at this point. So yeah, that is the Crystal Palace team. Let us know your thoughts in the comments on that. Before we do anything else, people have been asking, because me and Dan are obviously rocking them right now, our Trent Christmas jumpers. That was me saying Trent and Christmas at the same time. Trent jumpers are available on redmenmerch.com. If you're in the UK, your ordering deadline is the 14th of December, so you've got 5 more days to get these boxed, or, you know, basically be gutted. It's not that you can't order them after that point, it's just that we can't guarantee that they'll turn up in time for Christmas. So there's a wide selection on there. Fill your boots, make yourself happy, make someone in your office or house miserable by perhaps referencing Liverpool beating Manchester United 7-0 this year. Yeah? Sounds pretty good. And yeah, of course, you can also get a knitted Christmas jumper as well. There's a bunch of stuff. Go and head over there and fill your Christmas stockings with Boss Liverpool-related merchandise. How are we feeling? Do you think Liverpool have got what it takes here, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the Palace lineup is a reflection of their fitness problems they've got right now. I think Elise's omission from the starting 11 is likewise. He was a bit of a doubt for this one. There's no Decore there either. He's out for a while. Liverpool obviously linked with him quite heavily during the summer. Yeah, I think Liverpool, it feels a bit like midweek to me. And I don't think it's going to be particularly pretty, but it feels like get in and out of dodge and sort of sit back, relax. That is the beauty of the 12:30 kickoff. There aren't many pluses to it, but being able to get your points on the board done and dusted, and then hope springs eternal that Arsenal drop points later, and likewise Man City yesterday. So yeah, I think Liverpool should be confident. We should be confident of getting in and out of there with 3 points. Chris?
Yeah, exactly the same as Dan. I think it's, Jurgen's team talk is go and put some pressure on Arsenal Football Club today. Make sure you make it as easy as possible for yourself. Don't go down early doors. Get the win, put the pressure on Arsenal, go to the top of the Premier League table and stay there, lads.
Yeah, I totally agree with all that. It's, Palace are in a bit of a sticky place at the moment. They're starting to turn on Hodgson again, who I discovered via the press conference that he was one of people who Klopp really looked up to as a young manager and stuff. He was really influenced by Roy Hodgson.
Must have loved Swedish football in the 70s.
Apparently so, yeah. Big fan of the Swiss national side. But yeah, I agree with that. It'd be really interesting just to get 3 points, be able to relax for the weekend. But if City are going to go through a rough patch, I like the fact that Arsenal are we've seen City off. They've never actually had to go toe-to-toe with Liverpool before, and particularly because we've got them coming up at Anfield as well. So yeah, really, really exciting in prospect. But yeah, everyone at home, strap yourselves in for stress, because that's probably the most likely way this game's going to go. And then, yeah, 3 points are all that matters, right? Do us a favour, everyone, drop a like on this, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. And in the interim between us returning from here for the watch-along, go and sign up to redmenplus.com. That'd be absolutely splendid. Right, other than that, thank you so much. Have a great day. See you all soon. Ta-ra. Thank you so very, very much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like. The season is now well underway. If you need extra Redmen content, be it podcast, videos, documentaries, interviews, and general shows, fill your boots on redmenplus.com today.